The alarms are screaming. The whole ship is shaking like something is trying to tear it apart from the outside. The lights flicker once, then again, and then they die. Emergency lighting kicks in. Red. Everything is red now. And through the viewport, through the cracked and smoking viewport, Ambassador Lysa watches them emerge from the darkness. 6 warships. Each one is 3 times the size of her diplomatic vessel. Each one is covered in weapons that glow with deadly red energy, pulsing, hungry, like they are alive. The Sketh Dominion has come for them. The collision alarm is still screaming somewhere in the background. Lysa tries to ignore it, but she cannot. The sound gets into your bones. It makes your heart race. It makes you think about death. First Navigator. Marcus looks up from his console. His hands are shaking. His blue skin is flickering with fear. His voice cracks when he speaks. Ambassador, we have lost main power. Backup systems are failing. Life support will last maybe 6 more hours, maybe less. He pauses, checking his readouts again and again as if they might change, as if the numbers on the screen might suddenly show something better, something that means they all live instead of die. Engines destroyed. We cannot run. We cannot fight. We cannot call for help. They are jamming everything. All our frequencies are blocked. We are blind. We are deaf. We are alone. Lysa's thin fingers grip the railing of the command platform. She is trying to stay calm. But inside her chest, something is breaking. 60 years of diplomatic missions. 60 years of building peace between species. 60 years of believing the galaxy was a place of wonder and friendship. And now all of that is about to end in the darkness. The ship shudders again. It is a terrible sound, the sound of metal screaming as it breaks, the sound of systems failing all at once, the sound of a ship dying. In the passenger sections below, 2,000 civilians are huddled in the darkness, families, children as young as 1 cycle old, elders who spent their whole lives believing in peace, that the galaxy was a place of wonder and friendship. Parents are holding their children close, whispering that everything will be fine, that help is coming, that they will be safe, knowing all the while that they are lying, that everything is the opposite of fine, that no help is coming, that safety is gone. Young couples are holding each other, whispering words of love, believing they are saying goodbye. Lysa closes her eyes. She does not want to see the ship dying anymore. She does not want to see the enemy ships circling. She does not want to think about what comes next. Marcus, she says quietly, is there any frequency they are not blocking? Any frequency at all? Marcus checks his readings, once, twice, 3 times. His bioluminescence goes dim. His fingers hover over his console like they might touch something that burns. There is one. But Ambassador, his voice trails off. He does not need to finish. She knows exactly which frequency he means. Every species in the Galactic Council knows about it. It was taught in schools. It was written in warning signs at the edges of certain star systems. It was whispered about in the dark corners of space stations by travelers who had seen things. Terrible things. Things that made them question everything they thought they knew about the universe. The frequency that reaches the humans. Marcus's voice is barely a whisper now. You cannot be thinking of using that signal. You cannot possibly be thinking of that. The humans are... Lysa does not finish either. The words seem too dangerous to speak out loud, like speaking them might make the situation even worse, like the universe might decide to punish her for even considering it. Through the viewport, a Sketh cruiser moves closer. She can see movement inside, hundreds of warriors preparing for something, hundreds of massive bodies covered in natural armor, hundreds of claws that can tear through steel, preparing to cut through her ship's hull. The stories about them, Marcus says. His voice shakes. They are not just stories, Ambassador. They are warnings. They are lessons about what happens when you get desperate, when you are so scared that you make decisions you should never make. I know the stories, Lysa replies quietly. Everyone knows the stories. The humans came from a world called Earth. A planet so dangerous that the Galactic Council classified it as a Category 12 Deathworld, the highest category there is. A world with crushing gravity that would break her bones like dry sticks. A world with an atmosphere filled with a poison gas they actually breathe. A world with water that falls from the sky and covers most of the surface. A world with extreme temperatures, violent weather, thousands of species that exist only to kill and eat other species. And the humans did not just survive there. They conquered it. They tamed predators and made them into pets. They built cities in the frozen wastelands and burning deserts. They created medicines from poisons and turned their world's deadliest creatures into food. They learned to thrive in a place where nothing should be able to survive. Then they reached the stars, and the galaxy learned to fear them. The Council has one official rule about humanity, Lysa says, her voice steady now. Do not provoke them. Do not challenge them. Do not under any circumstances ask them for help unless every other option has failed. Because when humans come to help, they do not come gently. Marcus steps closer to her. His voice is barely a whisper. The Council says when humans come to help, they come with fire and metal. They come with a determination that borders on madness. They come like they are angry at the universe itself. Like they want to punish existence for daring to hurt the people they care about. Between two monsters, Lysa says slowly. One will definitely destroy us, the other might show mercy. She turns to the console. The button to send the signal is right there, small, plain. It does not look like something that could change the fate of 2,000 lives. But it is. Prepare the signal, Marcus. No, please. Ambassador, do not do this. There has to be another way. I have made my decision, she interrupts. Her voice is firm now, more firm than she feels. I will not let our children die as hosts for their larvae. I will not let our elders scream in their pools. I will not let this happen. She walks to the communications console with each step feeling like it takes a lifetime, with each step feeling like she is walking toward something terrible. But it is a terrible thing she has chosen, not the terrible thing that has chosen her. Computer. Record a message attached to the distress signal. The computer beeps, a soft sound, almost gentle in this moment of terror. Lysa takes a deep breath. She has given speeches before. She has addressed the Galactic Council. She has spoken to beings of all kinds about peace and cooperation and building bridges between species. This is not like that. This is the last words her people might hear from her. This is a message that might be heard by no one, or it might be heard by the ones the galaxy calls monsters. This is Ambassador Lysa Vane of the Velan Collective. We are under attack by Sketh Dominion forces. Our vessel is the diplomatic ship singing Meridian. We are in the Corinth Expanse. Our ship is disabled. We have lost main power. Life support is failing. She pauses, remembering how to breathe. We have 2,000 civilians on board, adults, elders, and 300 children, 300 young Velan who have done nothing to deserve this, who have their whole lives ahead of them, who should be home with their families instead of facing death in the darkness between stars. We cannot fight the Sketh. We have no weapons. We are a diplomatic vessel. We have never needed weapons because the galaxy was supposed to be a place of peace. We cannot run. Our engines are destroyed. We are floating here helpless as they circle closer and closer. She takes another breath. I am sending this message on a frequency I was told never to use. I am asking for help from a species I was told never to contact. I am breaking every rule I have ever been taught because all the rules have failed us. I do not know if this will save us or doom us, but I know that doing nothing will doom us for certain. Her voice cracks, just slightly, but she keeps going. Please. If anyone hears this, please help us. We are begging you. Please come. Please save our children. Please do not let them die alone in the darkness. The message ends. For a moment the bridge is completely silent. Even the distant sounds of the damaged ship seem to pause, as if the universe itself is holding its breath. Then Lysa places her finger on the button. She presses it. The signal shoots out from her vessel at the speed of light. It travels through the jamming field as if the jamming field does not exist. It passes through clouds of cosmic dust. It crosses the vast emptiness between stars. It carries with it the desperate hope of 2,000 souls. It carries the voice of a mother, a father, a child asking to live. 17 light years away. The United Earth ship Perseverance is the flagship of the 7th Expeditionary Force. It is not a large ship by human standards. It is not fancy. It is not beautiful. It has one thick hull covered in scars from 100 battles. It has engines that burn fuel that would be considered toxic waste by most species. Its crew quarters are cramped, functional, with none of the luxuries that other spacefaring species consider necessary. It is built for one purpose only: to survive in places that would destroy other vessels. Admiral Chen sits in the captain's chair, drinking her 3rd cup of coffee of the day. The coffee is terrible. It has been terrible since 6 in the morning. It will probably be terrible at 6 in the evening. It might be terrible for the rest of her life. But somehow that is comforting. She is 62 years old. She has fought pirates and terrorists and hostile alien species. She has lost friends. She has lost soldiers under her command. She has lost sometimes her faith in humanity itself. She has seen things that made her question everything. Now she just wants to drink bad coffee and count the days until retirement. She has 17 months. 17 months until she can hand over command to someone younger, someone with more energy, someone who still believes the universe can be a good place. Around her, the bridge crew goes about their duties. Navigation tracks nearby asteroid fields. Sensors monitor for unusual activity. Communications listens to the endless chatter of the cosmos. It is routine work, boring work, the kind of work that makes soldiers complain about nothing ever happening. Chen prefers it that way. She has seen enough action in her 40 years of service. She has been scared enough times to last several lifetimes. She has made decisions that still haunt her dreams. Now she just wants quiet, peaceful patrolling, bad coffee. Then the signal arrives. It comes through the speakers like a scream, the old frequency, the emergency one. The one that is only used when there is absolutely no other option, when every other hope has failed, when the world is ending. Lieutenant Commander Okonkwo looks up from her console, her eyes wide, her face pale. "Admiral, we are receiving a distress call." Chen puts down her coffee slowly. It is still hot. Still terrible. "What frequency?" "The emergency frequency." Chen stands up. She does not remember standing up, but she is standing now. She has heard it used exactly 3 times in 40 years, twice for natural disasters, once for a first contact situation that had gone very wrong. Every time it has meant something terrible was happening. Every time it has meant lives were in immediate danger. "Put it through," she orders. Ambassador Lysa's voice fills the bridge. Her fear is unmistakable. Even through the computer translation, even across 17 light years of empty space, Chen can hear the desperation, the hope that is almost worse than despair, because it means the person sending the message still believes they can be saved. When the message ends, the bridge is silent. Every crew member has stopped what they were doing. Every eye is on the Admiral. Chen walks to the main viewport. She looks out at the stars, 17 light years away. 2,000 people are going to die. They are not human. They are not allies. They are strangers who sent a message into the void, hoping someone would care enough to answer. "How long to reach them?" she asks. Okonkwo checks her calculations. She types on her console. She checks again. She does not like the answer, but she gives it anyway. At standard cruise speed, 14 hours. If we push the engines to maximum, we can make it in 6 hours. Chen feels every one of her 62 years in that moment. Okonkwo hesitates. The engines were not designed for that kind of stress. The reactors were not designed for sustained maximum power output. They could overheat. They could fail. But that is okay. They were designed on Earth. They were designed by a species that evolved where everything tried to kill them. They were designed by engineers who understood failure, who understood that sometimes you have to push beyond the limits because the alternative is watching people die. "They can handle it," Chen says. She turns to face her crew. They are watching her, waiting for orders. Some of them are young. new to the service, still believing in adventure and glory, still thinking that saving people is easy and simple and leads to happy endings. Others are veterans like her, scarred and tired, knowing exactly what a mission like this will cost. I am not going to order anyone to do this, Chen says. This is not our war. These are not our people. We have no allies in this situation, no political agreements forcing us to help. The Galactic Council has made it very clear that they do not want our help unless absolutely necessary. We could ignore this signal. We could report it to command and wait for official orders. No one would blame us. She pauses, letting the silence stretch across the bridge, letting every single person understand what she's about to say. But I did not become a soldier to ignore people who need help. I did not spend 40 years in this uniform to sit in a chair and drink bad coffee while children die 17 light years away. She looks at her crew. If you feel differently, I understand. You are under no obligation to follow me on this. But I'm going to save those people, and I'm asking you to come with me. For a moment, no one moves. Then, one by one, the bridge crew turns back to their stations. Fingers fly over keyboards. Engines begin to power up. Weapon systems come online. The ship begins to change from patrol mode to battle mode. Lieutenant Commander Okonkwo smiles. Course plotted, Admiral. We are ready to jump whenever you give the order. Chen nods. She opens a channel to the entire fleet. 12 ships, 3,000 personnel. All of them listening to her voice right now. All of them waiting to see if she will order them to help. This is Admiral Chen to all hands. We have received a distress call from a civilian vessel under attack by Sketh Dominion forces. 2,000 lives are at risk. Children are at risk. We are going to save them. She takes a breath. I know what the galaxy says about us. I know they call us monsters, Deathworlders. They think we are dangerous, violent, unpredictable. Maybe they are right. But there is one thing they always forget about humans. She pauses. We do not abandon people who ask for help. We do not ignore cries for mercy. When someone reaches out their hand in the darkness, we reach back. That is who we are. That is what makes us human. She looks at the stars one more time. All ships, jump to FTL, maximum speed. We have people to save. The fleet jumps, the stars blur into rivers of light, and humanity comes. 17 light years away, on the singing meridian, Ambassador Lysa sits in her chair on the bridge and waits. She has no way of knowing her message was received. The jamming field still surrounds her ship. The Sketh cruisers are still circling. They are getting closer. Much closer. The silence on the bridge is terrible. It is worse than the alarms. It is worse than the shaking of the ship. It is the silence of waiting, the silence of hope slowly dying. Marcus stands beside her. His bioluminescence is dim and flickering. He looks like he is fading away. Do you think they heard? He asks quietly. Do you think anyone received the message? Lysa does not answer for a long time. She watches the enemy ships. She counts them. 6. Always 6. Always circling. Always getting closer. Finally she says, I do not know. But I hope so. I hope that somewhere out there someone is coming. The Sketh ships move even closer. The darkness presses in from all sides, and somewhere in the void, human ships are burning through space, racing toward a people they have never met, carrying with them mercy that no one had expected from the feared Deathworld. Time moves strangely when you are waiting to die. Hours feel like minutes. Minutes feel like hours. The ship drifts. The alarms eventually stop screaming because the systems are too damaged to scream anymore. The emergency lights flicker. Sometimes they work, sometimes they do not. 6 hours pass like seconds and eternity at the same time. Chief Engineer Maria Vasquez is in the engine room. This is her world. Metal and fire, and the complicated dance of systems designed to work together. She has not slept in 18 hours. Her hands are black with grease and coolant. Her face is covered in sweat. Reactor temperature, she calls out. A technician checks the readouts. 92% of maximum. We are still in the safe zone. Barely. Keep it there, Vasquez says. I want every drop of power we can get without actually blowing ourselves up. The technicians work in perfect coordination. They move like they have done this 1,000 times before. They adjust settings and replace parts that are wearing out too fast. The engines scream. The reactor burns hotter than the surface of most stars. Warning lights flash on every console around them. Vasquez has served on this ship for 15 years. She knows every system, every quirk, every weakness. She knows this engine like she knows her own body. When other engineers said the reactor could not handle maximum speed for more than an hour, she had laughed. Actually laughed. This reactor has been built by humans, for humans. It is tough, it is stubborn, it refuses to die, just like the people who built it. An alarm suddenly blares, a new alarm, not the old ones that are almost comforting in their familiarity. "Reactor stress fracture in compartment 3, someone shouts. Vasquez does not hesitate. She just moves. Her legs are carrying her toward compartment 3 before her brain even processes what the words mean. "Seal it off." "I'm going in." "Chief, you cannot go in there. The radiation alone." "I am going in," she repeats. Her voice leaves no room for argument. She enters the compartment with a radiation suit that protects her, but not completely. Not enough. She can feel the radiation burning through her. She can feel it in her bones. But the crack in the reactor is visible, a thin line of light coming from the core. She has 3 minutes before the crack becomes a rupture, 3 minutes before the entire reactor fails. She moves without thinking, without caring about safety protocols. She finds the support mechanism that is failing. She finds the emergency backup that no one thought would ever be needed. She cranks it into place with hands that are shaking. The crack stops spreading. The reactor is stable. Vasquez backs out of the compartment. Her suit is reading dangerous levels of radiation. She's probably taken enough radiation to make her very sick. She might not live to see retirement. But the reactor is holding. The ship is still moving. The rescue is still happening. That is all that matters. On the bridge, Admiral Chen stands before the main viewport watching the blur of stars. Her hands are clasped behind her back, the pose she always takes when she is thinking, when she is scared, when she is preparing for the worst. Her face shows nothing of her thoughts, but inside her mind is racing. She has studied the Sketh Dominion. She knows their tactics, their weapons, their psychology. They are predators in the truest sense of the word. They do not negotiate. They do not compromise. They see the universe is divided into 2 categories, Sketh and prey. 6 cruisers against her 12 ships. On paper, the numbers favor the humans, but Chen knows better than to trust paper. Sketh cruisers are heavily armed and armored. Her fleet is made up of frigates and destroyers, smaller, more agile, but less powerful in a straight fight. If she engages them in a traditional battle, she will lose, so she will not engage them in a traditional battle. "What do we know about the civilian vessel?" she asks. Okono pulls up the information on her console. It is a Velon diplomatic ship called the Singing Meridian. Standard passenger configuration, no weapons, minimal shields. Hull integrity is not great. According to the distress signal, they took significant damage in the initial attack. How many life forms aboard? 2,000. Adults and elders and children. According to the ambassador's message, 300 children. Chen closes her eyes for a moment. She has grandchildren of her own, 17-year-old twins, a 9-year-old who wants to be a starship captain just like her grandmother. The thought of them on a disabled ship surrounded by enemies, waiting to be taken, waiting to be used as hosts for alien larvae. It makes something cold and hard settle in her chest, something that has been sleeping for years. The wolf is waking up. She opens her eyes. "The Sketh formation," she says. "What is it?" "Standard siege pattern. They have surrounded the civilian vessel in a sphere with overlapping fields of fire. Anyone who approaches will be caught in a crossfire from at least 3 ships. They are confident. They think no one is coming." Chen finally turns from the viewport. "Have they ever fought humans before?" Okono checks her records. "No, Admiral." The Sketh Dominion operates mainly in the outer territories. They have had minor conflicts with the Galactic Council, but the Council has always backed down. This is the first time they have attacked anyone in a region where we patrol. They picked the wrong region. Chen walks to the tactical display in the center of the bridge. The holographic image shows the Corinth expanse with the singing meridian at the center and 6 red dots surrounding it. Her own fleet is shown as 12 blue dots approaching rapidly from the galactic west. "Here is what we are going to do," she says. She explains her plan. Standard siege formations rely on predictable enemy behavior. The Sketh expect any rescuers to stop at long range and assess the situation. They expect negotiation that gives them time to prepare, to adjust their formation, to take hostages if necessary. But they are not going to do any of that. We are going to drop out of FTL at close range, directly into their formation, and we are going to attack immediately, no stopping, no negotiating, no time for them to think. We are going to be so fast and so fierce and so unexpected that they will not have time to organize a response. The bridge crew exchanges glances. What the Admiral is describing is incredibly dangerous. Dropping out of FTL near enemy ships requires precision calculations. One small error could result in collision, or worse, materializing inside an enemy vessel. Lieutenant Park, the weapons officer, speaks up carefully. "Admiral, if I may. Dropping out at close range means we will not have time to raise full shields. Our weapons will need several seconds to charge. We will be vulnerable." "Yes," Chen agrees. "But so will they. The Sketh are not expecting us to be insane. That is our advantage." She smiles. And it is not a nice smile. The galaxy thinks we are monsters. Let us prove them right. The crew is silent for a moment. Then, slowly, they begin to smile as well. Not because they want violence, not because they enjoy killing, but because they understand something fundamental about humans. Humans are at their most dangerous when they are protecting someone. "All ships," Chen orders, "prepare for combat drop. I want weapons hot the moment we exit FTL. Target their engines first. A Sketh without engines is just a big target. Marines stand by for boarding operations. We are not just going to beat these monsters. We are going to take their ships." Across the fleet, the order is received and understood. On each of the 12 vessels, men and women prepare for battle. They check weapons that have been checked 100 times before. They seal armor that fits perfectly. They say quiet prayers to whatever gods they believe in. Some of them write messages to loved ones just in case they do not come back from this mission. Just in case they become one of the stories, one of the cautionary tales. Others make dark jokes because laughter is better than fear. In the Marine Bay of the Perseverance, Sergeant Major Aisha Dio stands before her squad of 30 soldiers. They are the best of the best, hand-picked for dangerous missions. They have fought pirates and terrorists and alien warlords. They have earned more medals than they can count, and scars that medals could never represent, but they have never fought Sketh. "Listen up," Dio says. Her voice cuts through the noise of the bay like a knife. "I'm not going to give you a speech about courage and duty. You already know that stuff. What I'm going to tell you is this." She steps forward. The Marines gather around her. "The enemy we are about to face is big, mean, ugly. They have natural armor that can deflect most conventional weapons. They have poison in their claws. They have a lot of experience killing things that cannot fight back." She pauses, looking at each of her soldiers in turn. But they have never killed humans. They have never faced a species that evolved on a world where everything wanted to eat us. They have never fought people who invented war before they invented writing. They think they are the predators here. They are wrong. One of the younger Marines, a corporal named Jackson, raises his hand. "Sergeant Major, the briefing said each Sketh warrior is 3 meters tall and has 8 limbs. How are we supposed to fight that?" Dio smiles. It is the smile of a predator. The same way our ancestors fought everything else on Earth that was bigger than us. We are faster, smarter, meaner. We work as a team. We cover each other. We do not stop fighting until every last one of them is down. She looks at them all. Her voice becomes harder, colder. "And if we get hurt, then you keep fighting until you cannot fight anymore. And then you keep fighting some more. Because somewhere on that civilian ship there are 300 children who are counting on us, and I am not going to let them down. She looks each of them in the eye. Are you? The Marines respond in unison. Their voices echo through the bay. No, Sergeant Major. Good, Dio says. Now gear up. We drop in 1 hour. The Marines disperse to prepare. They move with purpose, with determination. They know what they are walking into and they do not care. They do it anyway. Dio watches them go. Pride swells in her chest. These are good soldiers, the best she has ever commanded. Whatever happens in the coming battle, she knows they will give everything they have. She turns to her own equipment and begins the ritual of preparation. Armor first, piece by piece, checking each seal and connection, then weapons. Her rifle, customized with modifications she has made herself over years of service. Her sidearm, an old-fashioned projectile pistol that her grandmother carried in the wars of Earth. Her knife, simple and deadly. As she works, her mind drifts to the civilians they are going to rescue. She has never met a Velen. She has never spoken to one. But she knows fear. She knows desperation. She knows what it feels like to wait in the darkness, hoping for salvation that might never come. Years ago, when she was just a child, her village was attacked by raiders. She remembers hiding in a cellar with her mother and siblings, listening to the screams outside. She remembers praying for help, for anyone to come and save them. Help had come. Soldiers not much different from the ones she now commands had arrived and driven the raiders away. They had saved her life. They had given her a future. Now it is her turn to do the same. On the bridge, Admiral Chen receives updates from across the fleet. All ships report ready. All weapons are charged. All Marines are prepared. The moment is approaching. Chen sits back in her chair and allows herself a moment of doubt. It is a luxury she rarely permits, but she is old enough to know that doubt is not weakness. It is wisdom. Only fools are never uncertain. 2,000 lives depend on her decisions. If she makes a mistake, people will die. Maybe all of them. Maybe her own crew as well. The weight of that responsibility presses down on her like the gravity of a dozen worlds. But she has carried that weight before. She has made hard decisions and lived with the consequences. That is what command means, not glory or power, but responsibility. The willingness to bear the burden so others do not have to. Admiral, Okonkwo says, we are approaching the drop point, 30 minutes to contact. Chen nods. She stands and straightens her uniform. The time for doubt is over. Now is the time for action. Open a channel to all ships, she orders. The communication officer complies. Channel open, Admiral. Chen takes a breath. When she speaks, her voice is calm and steady. The voice of someone who has faced death many times and never blinked. This is Admiral Chen to all hands. In 30 minutes, we will drop out of FTL and engage the enemy. I will not lie to you. This will be dangerous. Some of us may not survive, but I want you to remember why we are here. She pauses. We are not here for glory. We are not here for revenge. We are here because 2,000 innocent people are about to die, and we are the only ones who can stop it. She pauses again, letting her words sink in. The galaxy calls us Deathworlders. They say we are violent. They say we are dangerous. They say we are monsters. And maybe they are right. But there is something they always forget. Monsters can be villains, or they can be guardians. They can destroy, or they can protect. Today we choose what kind of monsters we will be. Today we protect. She ends the transmission. Around her, the bridge crew works with renewed focus and determination. Whatever fear they feel is buried beneath a layer of purpose. The minutes tick by. The blur of FTL travel begins to slow as they approach their destination. Chen watches the countdown on the main display. 20 minutes, 15, 10. All weapons charged and ready, Lieutenant Park reports. Marines standing by, another officer adds. Shields at full power, a third confirms. 5 minutes. Chen stands and walks to the front of the bridge, as close to the viewport as she can get. She wants to see the moment they arrive. She wants to look her enemies in the eye. 3 minutes, all hands. Brace for combat drop. 1 minute. The stars stop blurring. Reality snaps back into focus. and the Perseverance, along with 11 other human warships, burst out of FTL directly in the middle of the Sketh formation. For one perfect moment, everything is still. The Sketh cruisers hang in space, massive and deadly, surrounding the tiny disabled vessel they have been hunting. The singing Meridian drifts helplessly, its hull cracked and dark. And between them, appearing as if from nowhere, is the fleet of humanity. Then the moment ends, and hell breaks loose. All ships open fire, Chen commands. The space around the singing Meridian erupts in light and fury. Human weapons designed to punch through armor and shields slam into Sketh cruisers that have not even raised their defenses. Explosions bloom across enemy hulls. Debris flies in all directions. The Sketh try to respond, but they are confused, disoriented. They have been expecting negotiation, not attack. They have been expecting fear, not fury. By the time their commanders regain control, 2 of their cruisers are already crippled, engines destroyed, drifting helplessly in the void. On the bridge, Admiral Chen watches the battle unfold with cold satisfaction. The plan is working. The Sketh are off balance. But she knows better than to celebrate too soon. Prepare boarding parties, she orders. It is time to show them what humans can do up close. In the Marine Bay, Sergeant Major Dio hears the order. She smiles that Predator's smile again. She chambers around in her rifle and looks at her squad. You heard the Admiral. Let us go introduce ourselves. The drop pods launch. 30 soldiers hurtling through space toward an enemy cruiser. Behind them, the battle rages. Ahead of them, hundreds of Sketh warriors wait, and the wolves of Earth come hungry. Warlord Cathrix had ruled his fleet for 30 cycles. He had conquered 12 star systems. He had harvested millions of lives to feed the Dominion's eternal hunger. He had never lost a battle. He had never known fear. Now, standing on the bridge of his flagship, watching impossible ships appear from nowhere and tear through his formation, he feels something cold crawling up his spine. Something he has not felt since he was a larva hiding from the adult warriors who would eat the weak. Fear. Warlord, his sensor officer screams. They came out of FTL directly into our formation. That should be impossible. The calculations alone would take. I know what it should take, Cathrix roars. His massive claws grip the railing of his command platform hard enough to bend the metal. Return fire. All ships return fire now. But it is too late for coordinated defense. The human ships have appeared in the worst possible positions for the Sketh and the best possible positions for attackers. They are too close for the heavy weapons to track, too fast for the targeting systems to lock on, and they are shooting with a fury that Cathrix has never seen from any species. On the view screen, Cathrix watches the cruiser called Endless Hunger take a full volley of human weapons to its engine section. The massive ship shudders. Explosions rip through its hull. Then its lights go dark and it begins to drift powerless and helpless. 2 ships crippled in the first minute of battle. Cathrix cannot believe it. What species are these, he demands. What are we fighting? His tactical officer looks up from his console. His mandibles are clicking rapidly, a sign of extreme stress. Warlord. The energy signatures match Terran vessels. These are humans. Humans. The word spreads through the bridge like a disease. Thrix sees his crew flinch, sees their confidence shatter. Sees warriors who have faced death 1,000 times suddenly look like frightened larvae. He knows why. Every species in the galaxy knows the stories about humans. They come from a world of nightmares. A planet where the gravity would crush a Sketh flat, where the air itself is poison to most life forms, where the water is filled with acid and the ground crawls with predators. The humans had not just survived that world, they had conquered it. And then they had come to the stars, bringing with them all the violence and determination that had kept them alive. They are just another prey species, Cathrix says, trying to sound confident. But he does not feel confident anymore. They bleed like anyone else. They die like anyone else. All ships, he orders, focus fire on the largest human vessel, destroy their leader, and the rest will scatter. It is a good plan. It is a logical plan. It is the kind of plan that has won Cathrix's every battle. It does not work. The human flagship, the Perseverance, does not try to avoid the concentrated fire. Instead, it flies directly toward Thrix's own ship, guns blazing, shields flaring with each impact. It takes hits that would have crippled a Velon vessel. It keeps coming. Its weapons never stop firing. Its course never wavers. And then, from its belly, small objects launch toward Cathrix's ship, dozens of them, tiny pods burning through space on columns of fire. Pods. His tactical officer screams. They are launching boarding pods. Cathrix feels his heart stop. Boarding actions were his favorite tactic. Sketh warriors were massive, powerful, and equipped with natural weapons that could tear through most species like paper. No one boarded a Sketh ship. No one was crazy enough to try until now. All hands, Cathrix commands. Prepare to repel boarders. Security teams to all entry points. Kill anything that comes through. But even as he gives the orders, doubt gnaws at him. The humans are doing everything wrong. They are supposed to be afraid. They are supposed to run or negotiate or surrender. That is what prey does. That is the natural order. These humans do not seem to understand the natural order. The boarding pods hit his ship's hull with a sound like thunder. Thrix feels the vibrations through the deck plating. Then come the sounds of cutting, metal screaming as the humans force their way through. And then come the gunfire. Sergeant Major Aisha Dio is the first through the breach. The moment the hull opens, she is moving, her rifle up, her eyes scanning for targets. The corridor beyond is dark, filled with a strange mist that her helmet sensors identify as a Sketh atmospheric preference. Low oxygen, high humidity, designed to weaken non-Sketh intruders. Her suit's life support compensates automatically. She barely notices the difference. 2 Sketh warriors wait at the far end of the corridor. They are exactly as the briefings have described. 3 meters tall, 8 limbs, covered in natural armor that looks like black stone. Their mandibles drip with venom. Their claws gleam in the emergency lighting. They roar and charge. Dio does not hesitate. She fires 3 burst center mass and throws herself to the side. The first warrior reaches her position. It swings one massive claw at her head. She ducks. The claw passes so close she feels the wind of it. She rolls. Comes up on one knee. Fires again. This time she aims for the joints, where the legs meet the body. The warrior collapses, its limbs no longer responding. The second warrior is already on her. It grabs her rifle with 2 of its arms, trying to wrench it away. Its other arms slash at her armor, leaving deep gouges in the composite material. Its mandibles snap at her faceplate, close enough that she can see the venom dripping from them. She lets go of the rifle. The Sketh is expecting her to fight for it. Instead, she draws her knife and drives it upward into the soft joint between the warrior's head and body. The blade is made of a special alloy designed to cut through almost anything. It does its job. The Sketh makes a gurgling sound and falls. Behind Dio, her squad pours through the breach. 30 Marines spreading out in tactical formation, weapons ready. They move like water flowing around obstacles, covering each other's blind spots. They do not waste time on speeches or battle cries. They simply kill. Move up, Dio orders, retrieving her rifle from the dead Sketh's grip. Our objective is the bridge. Stay together. Watch your corners and remember they are big, but we are faster. The squad advances. More Sketh come to meet them. The corridors fill with sounds, gunfire and screaming and the wet thud of bodies hitting the deck. On the bridge, Cathrix watches the internal sensors with growing disbelief. The human boarders are tearing through his warriors, not just fighting them, slaughtering them. His security teams outnumber the humans 5 to 1, and they are losing. How is this possible? He whispers. They are so small. So weak. His tactical officer shakes his head. They are not weak, Warlord. Look at the sensor readings. Their muscles are denser than ours. Their bones are reinforced with some kind of mineral compound. Their reaction times are faster than anything I have ever seen. He pauses, mandibles clicking nervously. And they do not stop. We have killed several of them, but the rest just keep coming. They do not retreat. They do not hesitate. It is like fighting a natural disaster. Cathrix stares at the display. One of the humans, a small female, has taken a blade through her shoulder. Any Sketh would have fallen from such a wound. This human has pulled the blade out, thrown it back at her attacker, kept shooting with her other arm. Another human has been cornered by 6 warriors. Instead of surrendering, he has pulled something from his belt and charged directly at them. The explosion kills him and all 6 Sketh. They are insane, Cathrix says. No warlord, his tactical officer's voice is quiet, almost respectful. They are Deathworlders. This is what they evolved to do. They come from a world where survival was never guaranteed, where every day was a fight. They are not afraid of death because death has always been close to them. It is an old friend. Cathrix turns away from the display. Through the viewport he can see the rest of the battle. 3 more of his cruisers are crippled now. Only 2 remain fully functional, and they are fighting desperately against the human ships. The singing Meridian, his prize, drifts forgotten in the chaos. He had come here to harvest prey. He had found something else entirely. "Open a channel to the human commander," he orders. Warlord, his communication officer, protests. "Do it," Cathrix commands. A moment later, a human face appears on the main view screen. It is an older female, her hair gray, her eyes hard. She looks at Cathrix with an expression he cannot read. "Warlord Cathrix," she says. Her voice is calm, almost pleasant. "I am Admiral Chen Wei of the United Earthship Perseverance. You have 90 seconds to withdraw your forces and release the Velen civilians. This is not a negotiation." Thrix feels his rage building. Who was this creature to give him orders? He was a warlord of the Dominion. He had conquered worlds. "You are outnumbered," he shouts. "You have 12 small ships against my 6 cruisers. You cannot." 80 seconds, the human says, not even blinking. "The Dominion will send more ships," Cathrix roars. "They will hunt you across the galaxy. They will." 60 seconds. "Your threats are noted," Admiral Chen says, and ignored. Cathrix's claws dig into his command platform. The metal groans under the pressure. Around him, his bridge crew watches in stunned silence. No one had ever spoken to a warlord like this. No one had ever dared. But the human does not seem to care about Sketh pride or Sketh power. She simply waits, counting down the seconds, as if Cathrix's threats meant nothing at all. "Warlord," his tactical officer says quietly. "The human boarders have breached the secondary checkpoint. They will reach the bridge in approximately 10 minutes. If we do not retreat now," he does not finish the sentence. He does not need to. Cathrix looks at the view screen, at the human admiral with her gray hair and hard eyes. She is not bluffing. He can see it in her face. She would destroy his fleet. She would board his ship. She would kill him personally if she had to. And she would not lose a moment's sleep over it because she is protecting prey. And to a Deathworlder that is worth any cost. "All ships," Cathrix says, his voice hollow. "Retreat. Pull back to the Dominion border." "Warlord," one of his officers protests. "We cannot just." "We can and we will," Cathrix roars. "This fight is over. We have lost." It is the hardest thing he has ever said. He has never lost. He has never retreated, but he is not stupid enough to die for pride when the enemy is already at his door. The Sketh ships begin to pull back. Their engines flare as they turn away from the battle, leaving their crippled sisters behind. On the human vessels, weapons continue to fire, harrying them, punishing them for every second they delay. But the humans let them go. They do not pursue. They do not try to destroy the fleeing enemy. They simply turn toward the singing Meridian and approach slowly, carefully, like someone approaching a wounded animal. Aboard the singing Meridian Ambassador, Lysa watches through cracked viewports as the impossible happens. The Sketh are running. The monsters who had been circling her ship preparing to harvest her people are fleeing like frightened animals. And the creatures chasing them, the ones the galaxy called monsters, are letting them go. Corrin's bioluminescence blazes with emotion. They came. They actually came. A communication arrives on a gentle frequency. Not the emergency one she had used, a human voice translated by computer, but still warm, still kind. Velen vessel singing Meridian. "This is the United Earthship Perseverance. We received your distress call. Are you in need of assistance?" Lysa laughs. It is a strange sound, half joy and half tears. "Yes. Yes, we need assistance. Our engines are destroyed. Our life support is failing. We have wounded. We have children who are frightened. We need everything." There is a pause. Then the human voice returns. Still warm. Still kind. Help is on the way. We are sending medical teams and engineers. Stay calm. You are safe now. Safe. Lysa had not felt safe in hours. She had not expected to ever feel safe again. But somehow, hearing that word from a human voice, she believes it. The wolves of Earth had come, and against all expectations they had brought not destruction, but mercy. What do you think is really happening here? Do you think the humans were just being heroes? Or do you think there is something else going on, something we do not see yet? Write in the comments what you think will happen next. I want to hear your theories. On the bridge of the Perseverance, Admiral Chen watches the Sketh retreat into the darkness of space. Her hands are steady, her face is calm, but inside relief is washing through her like warm water. They had won. 2,000 lives saved, the monsters driven back, and the cost. She would count the cost later. For now there is work to do. All ships stand down from battle stations, she orders. Begin rescue and recovery operations. I want medical teams on that civilian vessel as fast as possible. And someone find me a Velen translator. We have people to save. The bridge crew springs into action. Around her, the fleet shifts from war mode to rescue mode. Weapons powered down. Medical shuttles launched. Engineers prepare to cross to the damaged vessel and begin repairs. Chen allows herself a small smile. This is the part she likes best. Not the fighting, but the saving. Not the destruction, but the help. The galaxy called humans monsters. They called them Deathworlders. They feared them and avoided them and wrote warnings about them. But today those monsters had answered a call for help. Today they had saved lives instead of taking them. Today they had proven that being dangerous did not mean being cruel. And somewhere in the void, the message would spread. The story would be told. And the next time someone was in trouble, the next time someone needed help, they would remember what the humans had done. They would remember that the wolves of Earth could be guardians as well as hunters. They would remember. And they would not be afraid to ask for help. The sky of Velon Prime is blue and green and silver. The same sky that Ambassador Lysa had seen her entire life. She had never thought she would see it again. She had accepted that death was coming, that this patrol mission would be the last thing she ever did. But here she is, standing on the surface of her world, looking up at a sky that seems impossible, unreal, like it is part of someone else's life. Around her are the 2,000 survivors, families reunited, children being held by parents who had thought they would never hold them again. Elders who had made peace with death, now standing confused and grateful in the sunlight. And beside her are the humans, the wolves of Earth. They stand slightly apart, respecting the reunion, but not leaving, not disappearing back into the darkness. Because they know what comes next, the official ceremonies, the political discussions, the negotiations. They know because they have done this before. They know that saving people is just the first step. The hard part comes after. When you have to figure out how to live together, when you have to find ways to communicate, when you have to build something that will last. Admiral Chen stands at the edge of the plaza watching the reunions. She is tired, so tired. She wants nothing more than to retreat to her quarters and sleep for a week. But there is work to do. Ambassador Lysa approaches her. "I do not know how to thank you," Lysa says. "There are no words in any language I know that would be enough. You have given us our lives back. You have given our children a future." Chen smiles. It is a tired smile, but a real one. "You do not need to thank us. This is what we do. This is who we are." "Is it really?" Lysa asks. "Or is it something more? Is it really just kindness? Or is there something else that drives you to save strangers?" Chen thinks about that question. She has asked herself the same thing many times over her career. She has asked herself why she keeps risking her life and the lives of her crew for people who fear them, for species who will probably turn on them the moment it is convenient. The truth is, she does not know. "Maybe it is something from our evolution," she finally says. "Maybe it is something from the days when the only way to survive was to take care of your tribe." And slowly, that expanded. To your village, to your nation, to your species, and now maybe it is expanding even further, to the whole galaxy. She looks at Lysa. Maybe we help because we cannot help ourselves. Maybe it is not a choice we make, but a nature we have, like water flowing downhill. Humans just seem to flow toward people in trouble. Lysa nods slowly. Then that is your greatest strength, not your weapons or your power, but your nature. The fact that you cannot turn away, that is who you are. And I am glad. I am so glad. The ceremonies take days. Official declarations are made. Trade agreements are proposed. Cultural exchanges are discussed. And slowly, the Velen begin to understand something. The humans are not monsters. They are people. Complicated, messy, sometimes cruel, sometimes beautiful. But people. And people can change the galaxy. In the end, Admiral Chen stands on her ship looking at the planet below, blue and green and silver. A world that would probably never have contacted humanity if not for the crisis. But now things were different. Contacts had been made. Lines of communication had been opened. There was no going back to the way things were. And Chen did not think that was a bad thing. She heard footsteps, her communications officer approaching. "Admiral, we have received orders from command. We are to resume patrol duties. The crisis is over." Chen nods. "Plot a course back to our patrol sector." "Yes, Admiral." As the ship begins to move away from Velen Prime, Chen continues to look at the planet below. Somewhere down there, 2,000 people were telling their stories. We're explaining to everyone who would listen what had happened. We're describing the humans who had come from the darkness and saved them. The story would spread. It would travel from system to system, world to world, becoming legend. And slowly, the galaxy would learn. The wolves of Earth were not to be feared. They were to be called. Because when the darkness closed in and all hope seemed lost, they would answer. They would come, and they would fight until the last enemy was defeated or the last wolf fell. Because that was what Guardians did. And humanity, for all its flaws and all its failures, would always be Guardians. The stars shone down on a galaxy that was just beginning to understand. And in the hearts of 2,000 survivors, hope burned brighter than any sun. This was not the end of the story. It was just the beginning.